3D Wrap Feeling Pro Kit supports both wind simulation and rumble motors, all controlled from this single box here. So if we take a closer look at this, on the side are the sockets for the fans, and these are for the rumble motors. As you can see, there's 4 channels. I do have 2 motors, but you can plug in 4 if you have those. The motors I have here are their universal stick-on motors. So it has a sticky pad on there. Just put it onto the bottom of your pedal deck, or on the back of your seat if you have a hard seat, anything like that. But they also sell these motors that support different brackets for a variety of different pedal brands. So if you want to put them directly on the back of your pedals, then you can find actually they do come in different flavors. Essentially the same motor, different 3D printed bracket to attach to your pedals. Last year I reviewed the 3D Wrap Feeling upgrade kit, and that was exclusively just rumble motors. So that was pre the wind generators that we have here. Okay, so let's go through some of the components here. So we've covered the rumble motor, so let's get those out of the way. So USB cable, so to the controller box to your PC. We have a couple of stick-on cable clips. These are a couple of T-nuts. You'll see we have T-nuts on here on those brackets, so you've just got a couple of spares there, which is nice. This is the power supply. Now do note it is an EU power supply, so for me I will need to use an adapter to run this to the actual box there. We have a couple of extension cables which are going to be very useful. So these are for the rumble motors. Now the cables on here are decently long, but considering that we're trying to run these which might be under my pedal deck and these which will be on the side of my wheelbase, and that has to be somewhere in the middle, so you do need to have something to extend the wires here, and those do look like some useful extension cables. 3D Wrap's wind generators use 120mm fans with a max speed of 4000 RPM. Now, since this is simulation, the fan speed is relative to your car speed. So as you accelerate, so does the fan. As you slow down, so does the fan. So simple enough to understand. The software used to control the fans will be SimHub, and I will show you that setup as well in this video. Nice long cable coming from the fan. The shroud, or the air straightener, whichever way you want to call it, is an important part of these wind simulation kits. Now their job is to basically concentrate and maximize the airflow coming from the fan. It basically focuses it, so it does give you a more intense feeling of the blast coming from the fan. If you were to take it off, it'd certainly be quite noticeable. Now 3D Wrap have 2 options. The one they sent me is their high flow air straightener. The other option is their high speed air straightener. Now it makes no difference to the actual fan itself. You get the same fan, it's just a different design of this air straightener. I would assume the high speed air straightener simply has a tighter exit to further concentrate that air, giving it a slightly higher speed, making it feel stronger, where this one is more open. At the rear we have this 3D printed fan guard. The mounting arm is designed to work with aluminium profile, and it comes pre-installed with the T-nuts. That's the introduction complete. Let's move on to setting this up and running some tests. I've cobbled together this test bench to record the sound output and airflow metrics. You can limit the fan speed in SimHub in order to reduce the fan noise level, so I have prepared some results to demonstrate this. The distance between the fans and the recording instruments is 30 centimeters. Because the fans are not operating at a constant speed while racing, this is what it's like on track. In SimHub, there's an option that reduces the fan speed when you're in the slipstream of the car ahead. I did find this effective. When you pop out into the clean air, the fan speed immediately ramps up. The mounting arms get the job done, though I do find the bolt is tricky to reach. For my installation, I don't have suitable anchor points to easily attach these wind generators to, so I've modelled and printed these ram mount brackets. 3D-Wrap don't offer any alternative mounting options, but I do think that is something they should consider. To make things easier for me, I'm reusing the 3D-Wrap rumble motors that I already have for my CSL pedals, the ones I featured in my 3D-Wrap Feeling Upgrade Kit review from a year back. It's exactly the same model of motor, the difference being these pack a custom bracket made for these pedals. 3D-Wrap have built up a large selection of rumble motor pedal adapters to support different brands. Using wind simulation is not quiet. If you use headphones, then it won't matter, unless if you're trying to maintain a low noise environment. If that's particularly important to you, then this product isn't for you to begin with. In SimHub, you can adjust the fan speed by percentage, but if you lower the max speed too aggressively in an effort to reduce the noise, that begins to diminish the effect. So ideally you want to avoid that. Personally, I find 80% is a good balance for fan loudness and wind power. I use speakers, and at the regular volume I set, I can hear the fans and the wind turbulence blasting past my ears, but it doesn't drown out the game sound, and that's important. If you've ever tried racing with no game audio, you quickly realise hearing the engine noise is absolutely necessary. To help you get started, 3D-Wrap offer optional pre-tuned profiles. You can download them from the page listed below. Similarly, they also have separate profiles for the rumble motor settings too. I'm not looking to do a deep dive into SimHub today, otherwise we could go pretty long on this one. Hasten to say, using SimHub with the 3D-Wrap Feeling Upgrade Pro Kit gives you the same access to the same features as you would get with any wind or rumble motor setup that uses SimHub. The only discernible difference being the hardware you're using. With the help of the tassels, you may observe while cornering, the inside fan, the one closest to the corner, slows down and the outside fan speeds up. It's an optional feature in SimHub, so you can turn it off if you don't like the idea of it. Also, it doesn't work in every racing game, it does depend on the telemetry from the game itself. The 3D-Wrap wind generators yield an aggressive, concentrated cone of air right at me. The air straighteners doing their job, focusing the blast from those fans. There's no obvious delay, reacting in sync with acceleration and deceleration. It's very much working in tandem with the motion and getting up to speed quickly as you propel down the track. And the strength of the wind adjusts rapidly in tune with the speed of the car. They picked the right fans for the job, I would say. I think the results do speak for themselves. I already mentioned I've previously reviewed the 3D-Wrap rumble motors. For context, this is the old Feeling Upgrade controller box. And notice there are only sockets for the rumble motors and none for the fans. So the new feature with the updated Pro version is the combination of rumble motors and the wind simulation, operated from a single controller box. However, that's not the only thing that has changed. In my original review, I noticed latency. I was feeling the pedal motors coming in after the force feedback from the wheelbase. I could also hear a persistent electronic squeal from the motors. So a couple of obvious negative aspects that I did show off in that review. And using the same motors once again, now plugged into the new controller box, I was kind of expecting the same result. However, to my surprise, that was not the case. I'm not observing any latency from the motors, and there's no longer any squeal. That tells me the original Feeling Upgrade controller was flawed and really shouldn't have been sold as it was. And this new one is working exactly to spec, gaining the full potential from the rumble motors. It's a shame that my first encounter with the 3D Wrap Feeling Upgrade kit a year ago was clearly broken, but now I'm happy to give this a clean bill of health, and I am pleased with the results. The motors do pack a mighty kick, and you will need to dial back their strength to more sensible levels. That's a positive, as there's no situation that you will find them underpowered. For the universal motors, they can be attached to any hard surface and then simply apply an appropriate effect in SimHub. For pedal motors, the typical arrangement of effects would be brake lock-up and ABS applied to the brake pedal, wheel slip and traction control on the throttle. I also found road rumble particularly effective. Riding over curbs, I'm getting a strong sensation vibrating through the pedals. It's very immersive. It's an effect I would highly recommend. The spinning weight is what creates the vibrations, and the speed of the rotation is what determines the power of those vibrations. The faster it goes, the more intense the effect. In SimHub, you set the strength for the effects, so each one can have its own unique texture. You may want brake lock-up to feel stronger than ABS, for instance, so you can tell them apart. As you can imagine, getting feedback from the pedals like this is valuable information. When the wind generators are operating, I can't hear the rumble motors rattling my pedals, but if I were to turn off the fans, then indeed I would be able to hear them. By bundling together wind simulation and rumble motors, we just have one controller box, a USB cable and power supply, making this a tidy solution for anybody seeking this combination of hardware to add to a sim rig setup. Less clutter is always good. The broad support for different pedal brands is another benefit for choosing 3D Wrap for this. The only pinch points were the wind generator mounting brackets weren't ideally suited for me, so I needed to step up with a workaround. I'll leave a download link in the description if you want the STL file for the RAM mount brackets. Also, the kit comes with a European 2-pin power plug, so a power adapter was required. 3D Wrap really should be sending the correct plug for the destination, rather than the end user dealing with the inconvenience. Otherwise, everything shapes up regarding the functionality and performance of 3D Wrap's Feeling Upgrade Pro kits. The fans are powerful and responsive, and equally the rumble motors provide solid performance. I'm pleased with the outcome and enjoying the enhancement to my sim racing adventures. On a personal note, I do find wind simulation is more convincing in VR, plus the added directed cooling is welcome both while in VR or just on a hot day while racing. By the way, SimHub is a free download, but a license is required to unlock the full functionality of the software. Now, I don't know if the free version restricts the features of what's needed here. The SimHub license is cheap though, so don't worry too much about that. Though it is worth knowing, you may need to buy a SimHub license as well.